Alright, welcome everyone to round, I believe, 3, or no, round 4? Round 4, sorry, of the Tier 2 RPL Formula 1 Realistic Championship. We're at Spain, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, this week, with 16 drivers currently in session. Expect a couple more maybe to trickle in as we get our way through qualifying. Last round at Saudi Arabia, also streamed by me, was an interesting one. We had battle for the lead going right onto the last lap, battles throughout the whole grid, and the eventual winner was, of course, if I can find it, was of course Lennon, winning from pole, our championship leader now. He won the race, had a night owl and Josh 433, who had a disconnect. Still came in P3. Could have won that race without that disconnect. A very unfortunate outcome for him. He still stays in touch with the championship. Still in the early stages, obviously. But yeah, we'll get on board with some of these drivers as they do their outlaps. Got a Red Bull, it looks like, furthest. Was it in V-Carb actually? Jack Miles, yes it is. Yeah, so we have Lennon leading the Drivers' Championship as we head into round 4 here at Spain. Night Owl, who's not here this evening, P2, he's waiting for a Tier 1 seat. Decided he's done with Tier 2 now. Obviously a champion in the tier, last game cycle. So that will be Joe Wilson, the nearest full-time Tier 2 driver to Lennon. A good 15 points back already at this early stage in the season, although lots can still happen in this championship. Anyway, let's go on board with Jack as he sets the pace in that V-Carb. Really cranking the steering lock on there through turn 4. Jack Miles, obviously Tier 1 champion, only 2 seasons ago. Now finds himself in a V-Carb in Tier 2. He will be, of course, the first driver to split the beam in this qualifying session. So they'll these first ones go through, then I'll have a look and see what sort of pace we saw last season for pole. As Jack sets 12.7. Next across the line will be SV. Driver had a good qualifying last time out. He was faster than Jack in the Haas. Then it's Josh 433 in the Ferrari. Does an 11.9. Josh 433, a good drive around this track. Fought for the win last season. Just came up short last season. But he put up a very, very strong fight in that Ferrari. In a dry, wet, dry race we had last season. Jack MS has a 12.2, not far off at all in that Mercedes. Back in the top car again for this race. Mercedes Academy really switching up their lineup here with Bonkers in the McLaren, weaving his way through traffic there on his in-lap. And TSI Cryptic in the McLaren again after his P20 qualifying last time out after he hit the wall at turn 4 Saudi Arabia. Oh, Mile is here, sorry, he's moved into the Mercedes. He is still looking for a Tier 1 seat, as he was telling me last time we spoke. So I don't expect him to be in Tier 2 for the entire season, if he can get that seat. But he's dropped down to the Mercedes. Apparently he feels more comfortable in that car. Obviously the Mercedes has some of the most downforce of any of the cars on the grid, so one of the easier cars to drive, while the McLaren is definitely the faster car on paper. Slightly harder to drive, still nothing like a Red Bull, but Niall clearly not confident in that car as he goes for a lap. Cryptic just ahead of him, right on board within the McLaren. Easy flat through turn 3 in the Formula 1 car around here in qualifying. Goes purple, in fact. Very far from the inside there, not the ideal line through turn 4. The lap looking tidier than his Saudi lap. So it should be flat over the crest here. Using almost all of his ERS here. He goes purple again in sector 2 according to the game. Looking like he's on for a provisional pole lap here. Niall just behind him. He goes through these final 2 flat corners in qualifying. Runs out with it. Oh wow, he's really run out of ERS early there. And yeah, P3, so giving up a lot of time in the final sector then. I imagine his next lap will be better as he figures out the management of the ERS. Night Owl has only done a 12.7 there, so behind both Haas's and a V-Carb, not where you'd expect Night Owl to be. P2 in the championship at the moment, P2 in qualifying and the race last time out as well. I'll just have a quick look and see what the pole time was last season. Last season's pole time was an 11.5 set by yours truly. Josh 433 did 11.7. Maxwell G 11.8. So there's definitely some time to come off these lap times. Josh 433 can go at least 2 tenths quicker in the same car. That's right on board with Bonkers as he starts his second flying lap of the race. Qualifying session, sorry. So one shifts down to 4th. Early on the power through turn 2. As I said earlier, easy flat through turn 3, using a little bit of ERS just to keep this minimum speed up. Hugs the inside on the entry, lets the car wash wide on exit. Again, there's a Red Bull in the way. Run maybe a little bit deep into turn 6 there, sorry, turn 5 there. Through turn 6 and 7. Quite tricky in the race, those corners. You easily unsettle the car on the curb. So how much time is he up by? 4 tenths. It's a massive improvement. Still not going to put him in the top 3 unless we can find some more time in this final sector. He's got a little bit more battery to play with than we saw Cryptic on his lap, as Jack MS goes to P2. Bonkers goes to P6, the 12.3. Josh through 3, up in his time by nearly a tenth in the first sector alone here. Then not on a hot lap. Jack missed on an in lap. See what Josh can do in that Ferrari. So Haas stays well out the way of the Ferrari. JTK still hasn't come out for a lap, neither has Savage. Oh sorry, they're both on their outlaps now. Excuse me. I expect to see JTK looking for a top 10 in qualifying here. As Josh goes through the final corner, you see he saves some battery here for the run to the line. And this is going to be an improvement to a 11.847. Puts him over a 10th clear at the top of the pack. So what Devin can do in the Red Bull. Oh, there's a Sauber off at the final corner there. That was Valentino. No, it was Savage trying to start his lap. He's binned it. I think it was P2 yesterday in Tier 3 in a hard-fought race. See if Naito can find any improvement. I imagine there was a mistake on that last lap to be so far off his teammate's pace. I was really using all the track he can there through turn 3, right on the curb. He holds the car slightly tighter than we're seeing the McLarens do through turn 4. Second gear instead of third gear for turn 5. Some differences being taken between different drivers. I'm not exactly sure who's right and who's wrong. Let's see, how much time is Naito up by, or not up by, at the end of 62 here? Not even a 10th up. So let's hope his mistake was in the third sector last lap then. His Cryptic does an 11.7 to go fastest on his second run as Naito nearly loses the rear end there. In the last traction zone of the track. A little shift down there. Not really necessary in qualifying, but 12.5. Naito does not seem to have the pace in that Mercedes that she supposedly says he feels comfier in. If he's hoping to get a tier 1 seat, he's going to need to find some more pace. There's J2K there in the Williams, goes half a second quicker than Night Owl. That is a great lap from J2K, within 3 tenths, so just over 3 tenths of Cryptic in the McLaren. That is a sensational lap. That would have put him last season, sorry, P7 with that lap in Tier 2. As most drivers now come in to finish their second runs. And on a hot lap. Don't think no, this isn't a hot lap for Valentino. Valentino and Rolly both need to find quite a bit of time if they want to start troubling the rest of the grid here. It's pretty close if you ignore these two. 8 tenths from P1 to P12. I'd like to see an improvement from Bonkers. 6 tenths off his teammate in that McLaren. Long way off where that McLaren should be. I think so far the standouts in qualifying have been J2K with a 12.0 in the Williams. Faster than 2 academy teammates in far superior machinery. So yeah, now every car is in the pits as we wait for the final runs. Slightly overcast weather, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some rain in the race. Don't imagine we'll see any in qualifying. As we have Jack Miles, the first car again out on track, so he'll be the first to complete all the runs. Hello, Matty. I think quickly my predictions for the top 3 in qualifying here. I think Cryptic's looking very fast in that McLaren today. Josh 433 as well, looking very fast. I think Josh 433 or 433, sorry, will probably, just looking at the way the season's gone so far, will probably have the pace advantage on Cryptic. So I think Josh will probably take pole. I think Cryptic P2, and I think Lennon P3 will probably be our top 3 in qualifying here. Ferrari putting on a very strong performance. Yes, I would agree with you, Matty. That did look scrappy. Night Owl's that is. I think that's just kind of how his qualifying have been recently, though. He's not really been up to pace in a lot of qualifying sessions. Let's see what Jack can do here. Into turn 1. On the throttle very early there, looking very confident in the car. Staying on ERS through all of turn 3, getting a little bit wide though. He's got barely any battery left here. He's up at 10th. In the end of sector 1. No, he's in third gear. I think that's a much better choice in second gear for turns 5. Through turn 6, 7, yeah, as you can see the V car does not have the front end. Let's see, has Jack managed to retain any? He has, still up by a 10th. It's only going to pull him maybe one place higher if he finds a bit more time. Let's have a look at what the Ferraris are doing meanwhile. Saw Lennon was up there by nearly a 10th, didn't catch what Josh's split times were. As Jack will go across the line. Improves to P9 there. See what Lennon's time is across the sector split. Oh, by nearly 2/10 here. This is going to put him provisionally on pole. Is Josh up by anything? No, Josh is down. Josh has abandoned his lap in fact, so he'll get another go. Lennon here is just going to get a little bit of dirty air from that Haas as he comes across the line. Does he find any time? He does! 2.5 tenths puts Lennon on provisional pole here. As Josh will start another lap. Cryptic also probably get a lap in. He's kind of get a bit fine, but should be good. Not bonkers here, come through the final couple of corners in the McLaren. He really needs to find a couple of attempts here to put his car where it should be. And he's found a little bit of time. It's not improved his position. He's behind JTK, Nemula Watt here. Speaking of JTK, all up himself. Let's have a look at what Josh is doing though. Oh, back end very slidey through turn 6. He's going to get a lovely little toe off his teammate here though. Lennon could be helping his teammate take pole off him. But Josh is down. At the end of sector 2, so he's going to need a massive sector 3 if he's going to find any time here. Sends the car through the final corner. And he does find a tiny bit of time, but Josh stays third here, so my prediction is going to be wrong of Josh on pole. We've got a yellow flag for one of the McLarens, so those bonkers not on the lap. Giving his teammate Cryptic a toe, just like the Ferraris did. Cryptic slightly down in sector 2 here, but he's still on for a chance here at pole with a good last sector. As Night Owl's come across the line, they've only done a 12.2, so he's going to be P9. P2 man in the championship. As Cryptic again runs out of battery early. What can he do to the line though? Does he find any time? He does, but it's not enough. It's going to be Lennon with his second or third pole of the season. Let me see if I can figure out how many poles he's had. It's his second pole of the season for Night Owl. Second in 2 races as well. Sorry, for Lennon, not Night Owl. And that's everyone's finishing their lap. So this is going to be our starting order. Both the Haases looked like they were doing pretty good at the start of qualifying, but they didn't really push on. Both of them outside the top 10 in the end. Bartu did join the session right at the end. Oh no, he had a qualifying ban, sorry. Wilson and Devon very close, kind of showing where the limit of that Red Bull is. Obviously not quite, in my opinion, not quite as fast as the Ferrari or the McLaren and the Red Bull. Especially on a track like this where you really need rear stability. Jack and Best managed to get himself ahead of Josh at the end of the session there, so he will start P3 in that Mercedes. Really showing Night Owl where that car should be. What it can do. But yeah, there you have it, guys. Lennon P1, Cryptic P2, Jack MS P3, that McLaren. Sorry, Mercedes. Jesus Christ, I can't speak today. Josh 433 in P4 in the Ferrari. Both the Red Bulls P5, P6. JTK start off qualifying P7 in the Williams, out qualifying both the McLaren and the Mercedes of his academy teammates. Jack Miles wraps out the top 10 in the V Cup with a 12.3. Less than a tenth of Night Owl in the Mercedes. Very impressive as well from Jack. And that was both the Haas's P11, P12, within a couple of hundredths of each other. Then the Kick-Saubers. And as I was saying earlier, it's going to be a wet race. Now, this does play to certain drivers' strengths. I know for a fact that Night Owl is someone who adores the wet. Jack Miles, another one who I think we'll see coming through the pack in the wet, both of those controller players. Obviously, any Tier 2 drivers who raced here last season will know how to drive the wet on this track. So that's the likes of Josh 433, Lennon. Don't think there's that many Tier 2 drivers from last season racing this season, actually. I think a lot of drivers have gone to Tier 1. Others, such as Mintoki or Raz, not here this season. Or not showing up, at least. I think both of them have seats. Raz supposed to be in the McLaren. Instead, he's playing Football Manager 26, I saw. Looking like it's very heavy rain, so I'm interested to see if anyone chooses to start on the wets. I would personally suggest against the wets, as we saw, as I've seen every time there's been a wet race this game. The wets just are not the tyre to be on. They give you maybe 3 or 4 laps of pace advantage, and then they really drop off. Saw that in Tier 1 in China 2 weeks ago. Lots of drivers starting on the wets and starting to fall off as their tyres start to overheat after 5 or 6 laps. Inter's definitely the better tyre. As for a prediction of who's going to maybe win this race, I think Lennon's a good shout. I mean, he's on good form here. Championship leader. Wouldn't put it past him. Don't know what his wet pace is like though. Anyway, as we get ready for 5 lights to go out. And we go racing. Looks like most people are on Inters, and Rolly's jumped the start, and Lennon, it looks like he's got a good jump and he's away, and there's Rolly going very slowly already. Jack MS has got Josh on his inside. Josh backs out of it. Oh, JT goes very wide in the Williams. And he's had to cut across the runoff, and yeah, JTK's dropping places there. Night Owl already up to P7, so just watch out for him. Jack Miles also following him through, but it's as they were for most of the drivers, but Night Owl and Jack Miles getting in a bit of a tangle. That's Valentino off. More crashing going on here for Savage and SV. Side by side here between AJ and Devin. Devin having a poor start. AJ revving the ever-living hell out of his engine there on exit. Now trying to go on the outside of 6, which becomes the inside of 7. Looks like AJ's made that move, and then JTK's followed him through. Sorry, Bartu's followed him through, wrong Williams. There you go, Bartu has decided to start on the wet, so he should have a pace advantage at the start. As Night Owl already looking to have a go with Bonkers. On the wets, Bonkers as well. Whoa! Jack MS also right on the back of Cryptic here. On the wets. So definitely more spin strategy than I expected here. Let's get the tyres up. There we go. And yeah, it's a very even split of who decided to start on the dries and on the inters, who decided to start on the full wets. As Jack MS has a little look at the inside, but no moves. It looks like it's turn 1. apart from Bartu looking to get past Devon. And he's seemingly made the move on the exit of turn 2. I see all the cars sliding their way through turn 3. Oh, and then that's Valentino looking to have a move up the inside. Contact there with SV. He's going to force his way through there, using a little bit of a bump and run approach. SV really struggling on those inters. Oh, but then Valentino goes wide and there's more contact. Valentino's ended up in the gravel. And right down almost to last. At the front here, Giacomes has made his way through Cryptic. Sorry, I must have missed that. That's the wets versus the inters, proving dividends early on. Let's have a look at position changes at the start here. Yeah, so Bonkers up 2, Knighted up 2, Jack Miles up 2, Bartu up 5. Biggest loser, Devon down 7. Yeah, so Night Owl, Jack Miles both up 2 on the inters, proving that the inters do have the pace here. Giacomes here looking like he could be challenging for the lead here. Already right on the back, setting the fastest lap as well. Josh 433 also around the back of Cryptic, at least be struggling for pace in the wet. Josh 433 decides against sending a move at this stage. So down the order. Josh still trying to find a way through. Basically sliding the car through turn 3. He's going to have to send a move. It's so hard to overtake in the wet. The only way you can do it really is on the brakes. No DRS obviously. As they're fighting for the lead here, and Giacomes has sent out the inside of turn 3 and made the move on Lennon. And he just seems to have a huge pace advantage at this stage in the race. As Josh 43 is now falling behind Wilson on those wet tyres. And Cryptic is now right on the back of Lennon. So all that's going on at the start of this race. I think Jack here probably going to run away with things. As Josh is falling further down the grid now. There's Night Owl, but he's sent it in deep. Oh, Night Owl getting hung up behind Bonkers there. Is that going to allow Josh to retain the place? They're nearly 3 wide here in the final sector, and Night Owl now, if he can just get his foot down, will keep the position. No, he can't. And now J2K, who's made his way past Jack Miles, has a chance. Let it all go at the start of this race. As Giacomes absolutely checks out at the lead here on these wet tyres though. So there's always a chance his tyres might fall off if he can't keep them in a good nick. Yeah, despite there being no DRS, the train is not split or separated at all. The top 14 all within a second of each other. Outside of Lennon, who's fallen 1.5 seconds behind in 2 sectors. So he only sends into turn 3 this time round. Looks like no one's close enough to make a move on this lap. Josh 43 managed to go in the space of 1 lap from looking to get his way into P3 past Cryptic to P6, having to look behind him to Night Owl. Oh, and it's Bonkers very wide. And that gets Josh very close, but I don't know if Josh is going to have the bravery on the brakes. Ooh. Nearly. There's Wilson also very close to the back of Cryptic here. No moves at turn 9. One of the trickiest corners in the wet to negotiate. They're just waiting for the tyres to grip up effectively. As Giacomes yet again sets fastest lap, and he is absolutely flying. As Savage picks up a 3-second time penalty already. Wilson there had a little shimmy to the inside, but can't seem to find a way through on Cryptic. You can hear the throttle modulation. Whoa. was Devon there, who's found himself all the way down in P12 now. Looking for a move on bar 2. Our biggest gainer obviously started 16th, now P11. Right on the edge of the points. You see our gap's beginning to open up a little bit. Mainly that gap there from AJ to Jack Miles. Whoa! Multiple different lines being taken there through turn 9. And yeah, these guys are nose to tail through basically the whole lap here, and yet no one seeming able to make a move. As Giacometti sets another fastest lap as he extends the gap now to 3.1 seconds. And Savage, oh sorry, SV is in the pits. Is that to repair damage? Just want to check no moves being made before I check if that's the case. Let's see. Do they have a front wing ready for him? No, okay. We go back to the lead where 2 different lines being taken by different drivers who's trying to get fresh air on their end plate, cool the tyres down. It's Wilson here. He's going to have a go at Cryptic on the outside. Cryptic tried to squeeze him but left him enough room. All fair racing there. And Wilson now's got a great run out of turn 5 but couldn't quite turn it into a move at turn 6. Cryptic again, wise to it, defends the inside. And then yeah, in the dirty A, you see Wilson not able to keep the gap where it was. You see that SV has come out on wets there, so he's just clearly thought that these inters are not the tyre to be on. I would have thought that now is around the time you'd start to see the inters become the better tyre, but Giacometti still setting fast lap after fastest lap in the lead. I do wonder how much this whole group of cars behind Lennon is being held up by Lennon. Jack Miles at the back looking like the closest driver. Oh, thought Bartu was going to move there as well, but no, things mostly stay the same. See JTK there going defensive on the way into turn 5. Let's have a look at this. So most of these wet runners do seem to be struggling for pace compared to these inters. If you ignore Giacometti, who's just blindingly fast in these conditions, seemingly. Bonkers up 3 positions now for the start of the race. Oh, it's Devon fighting away with Bartu, it looks like. Just manages to stay ahead. Not a great performance from Devon so far. He's found himself stuck after a poor start down in P11 behind a Haas and a V-Carb and a Williams as the leaders make their way into turn 1 once again. Bonkers there looking for a move. It's not gonna be on. As SV now enters the penalty box. Wilson again looking like he's probably the fastest driver in this train. But he's not willing to send a move, not willing to risk it at this stage. This is the issue with these conditions. It's just always Lennon runs extremely wide out of turn 7 there. And Cryptic here goes for a move up the inside. Turn 9. It's got the inside, it's going to become the outside for the next corner, so this might give a chance for Lennon to come back up the inside. Yes, it does. Oh, sliding between two of them, a little bit of contact by the looks of things, and Cryptic is through on Lennon. And now Wilson, desperate to try and follow him through, doesn't want to get stuck behind the Ferrari. And both of them pretty equal on battery. It's now Bonkers getting involved in the battle. Look at this, one driver makes a move, forces another one offline. Okay, so erupts as Bonkers now goes up the inside of Wilson. Is he going to make the move stick? Just about, and now that's going to allow Josh 423 maybe a chance. No, it doesn't, but Wilson, who looked like the fastest guy in this train, suddenly finds himself losing a place to Bonkers. Oh, but he's trying to fight for it back, and there's a little bit of contact there. This Bonkers then loses the round of braking for turn 5. And this has allowed Cryptic to break away. You see here that, yeah, Lennon clearly does not have the pace some of these other guys in the train. He's already dropped nearly a second to Cryptic. These guys just need to get past him, really. Figure out who is the fastest. Who do they want to follow? I would have expected to see some more progress by the likes of Night Owl here, a driver who has proven to be something of a wet specialist. Always begging for rain. Oh, as Josh gets on the curve there, and you can see he's just not got the same grip as the tarmac in the wet. And Bonkers is looking pretty close. Look at how he gains Lennon. Oh, but he's picked up a time penalty for going a bit wide there. That could always hurt him at the end of the race. As Cryptic now sets the fastest lap on those inters, showing that, yeah, those inters now are the faster tyre. Oh, this Bonkers, sorry, nearly loses the rear under braking, showing that these conditions are tricky. Now, is anyone going to try and get to the end on the set of tyres? I don't think anyone on the hards will. So the hards, what am I saying? On the wets will. But some people on the inters might be able to go to the end there. As Wilson looking for a move there on Bonkers, and that is a move if he can pull it off. Stuck on the outside. Is he going to get put off? No, Bonkers does well, gets in the room. Nice battle, keeps the position. That's the sort of battling I want to see. You don't force the driver off the track. You leave him just a car's width. But Wilson's not done here. He's going to... Oh. Thought he was going to go for it on the inside of turn 8, but doesn't fancy it. We're seeing a lot of good wheel-to-wheel battling here in the wet. Shows what you get when there's no DRS. Oh, Night Owl there looking for a way through on Josh. As yeah, now look, Cryptic has absolutely disappeared. 2.6 seconds ahead of Lennon already. I should probably get rid of that. As I notice, Savage and Bartu have also come in. Sorry, Bartu hasn't, he's just... Sorry, Savage hasn't, he's just a long way off the back of the grid. Bartu has come in for a new set of tyres, so those inters brand new for him, so he can go to the end on those tyres if he wants to. Probably try and undercut some of those guys he was fighting, AJ, Devin, Valentino. Maybe try and catch up to this other train. As Cryptic is slowly beginning to eat into that gap to track MS, I think. Obviously with the fastest lap of the race at the moment. So you can visibly see the gap that Cryptic has poured out since making the move on Lennon. You can see there through turn 9, Bonkers taking a very different line to everyone else on those wet tyres. He's trying to keep them cool, Savage picks up another warning. This is... Sorry, time penalty. This is not going well for him. As Cryptic sets fast up again, so he is catching Jack MS. Not by a huge amount though. But at the end of this race, if he continues to have that pace advantage, he might be there. I do think the Inter tyres are the faster tyre to be on at this point in the race. I just think Jack MS has some insane pace in the wet. You see that, look at the time that Cryptic was taking out Jack MS through Sector 1. Ooh, squirrely on exit of turn 5 there for Bonkers. Those wets perhaps starting to overheat. Now that this dry line is beginning, well, maybe not dry line, but a racing line has begun to appear. As SV has just passed Bar 2 at the back of the grid here. Whoa! And SV having a massive moment and then shooting off into the track and nearly spinning again. SV just one of those drivers who, in my opinion, just doesn't have any sort of consistency. I don't mean in terms of his pace, as we see Jack MS pitting. So those wets, as I said, good at the start of the race, but they quickly fall off, and he's come in early. This could... I do really like the strategy from Jack MS, actually. He's going to have fresh inters while everyone else is on those old inters. So he's going to be able to extend his gap with an undercut here. As this group continues to be stuck behind Lennon, I wonder if we'll see anyone else decide to pit. Someone like Cryptic, maybe. If he's decided these two stopping, now would be a good time, as Bartu now gets past Valentino, who's in the pits. Still no movement in this train. Yeah, as I was saying, SC just one of those drivers who... His pace is consistent. He's consistently fast qualifier, but in the race, he's just doesn't seem to be able to put together a stint where something doesn't go wrong. Let's see, does anyone choose to pit this lap? Critic stays out, Lennon stays out. Everyone's staying out this lap. No one responds to Jack MS. I guess why would they? As yeah, there we go. Josh looking to cool his tyres there as he pulls out into the wet patch. Something an SV go at it again. Might as well give these guys some. Yeah, I don't think SV going to those wets was the right choice at that time of the race. As you can see, he's really, really sliding through most of those corners. And this group continues in procession. Oh my god, Bonkers really letting his rear get loose. As Bartu makes his way past Savage. I do think when they changed the profile of turn 9 a couple of years ago, they did just reduce how many overtaking places there were on this track. They basically reduced the length of the braking zone at turn 9. They turn it into a longer corner. So we see Bonkers in, and oh my god, he almost kisses the barrier on the way in. That's the second hard runner we've seen come in. JTK, sorry, wet runner. I keep calling them hards. As Killian says, drift mode engaged for SD on those wets. But yeah, so we see JTK and Bonkers both in Bonkers on a set of inters, JTK on a set of inters. Striking mess is already well past them. We've come out ahead of Jack Miles though, who I missed pitting a couple of laps ago. But Jack Miles has not managed to undercut JTK. That surprises me. And I don't imagine he'll be able to get him very easily now. So let's see, people are going to have to respond to Bonkers, surely. The likes of Lennon, if he wants to keep track position, he's going to have to pit. Wilson on those wets, I don't imagine him going much longer. Oh, Josh has got a penalty. AJ gets a penalty. I wouldn't be surprised to see if someone like Josh or Night Owl tries to do this whole race on one set of tyres. We saw this in Tier 1 for China. Cookie won the race without pitting, in conditions very similar to these. And we see Wilson come in, so that's the last person starting on wets now into the pits. Let's see where he comes out in comparison to Bonkers. He was, of course, behind Bonkers before the pit stops. This Jack MS is already way fast. As Bonkers picks up another penalty, I think that's 2 for him. I'll change that to penalties. As everyone's on inters now. Yeah, 6 seconds for him. And he's come out, wow, behind Wilson. So the undercut not proving the way to go here, very surprisingly. But yeah, I mean, Jack Miles has caught up to JTK here as well. But yeah, the undercut not the way to go. Ooh. So seeing how this undercut just isn't working, do the likes of Josh, Lennon, Night Owl, Devin maybe, extend, go as long as they can on this first set of tyres. Look at AJ here, who's done a very admirable job here to keep Devin behind, basically the whole race, in a far inferior car in the Haas. Devin boxes. The Ferraris here still have the double stack issue. Yeah, now Night Owl's coming up to the back of the Ferraris. As Jack Miles makes a move on JTK at turn 4. Can JTK come back at him? No. So even with those fresh tyres, JTK not able to keep Jack Miles behind. So SV gets past bar 2. Driving fully on the wet patch. And drifting through turn 6. JTK sticking to the back of Jack Miles here since the overtake. I'll let him go. As Josh 43 basically let by Lennon there. I think there were some team orders at play there. Lennon not even defending the inside line there. Let's see, can Josh begin to pull away? I mean, he's already looking to be pulling away from Lennon. The Savage now has 9 seconds of time penalties. purple middle sector for Josh now that he's in clean air. Not out now. Gotta try and get close enough for a move on Lennon. As Josh goes, yeah, fastest now that he's got no dirty air ahead of him. It's the only battle on track, really, the only cars within a second of each other. Still have all 16 cars that started the race running on track, which is nice to see. No DNFs, no retires in the pits. Despite some of the rather large gaps you see at the back end of the field, Rolly and Savage, long way off. Nightowl desperately trying to get closer than half a second to Lennon, but it's just not happening for him. Both of them just burning their entire battery down the straight here. Jack Miles now enters a 3-second club. Getting his penalty, I imagine, yeah, at the last corners. Valentino and Bartu. SVCs have some pretty good pace on those wets, despite the driving style. His night hours within 3/10 of Lennon. Still can't find a way. Or can he here? Trying a different line. Oh, God. Runs into the back of Lennon there, a bit lazily. Oh, it's Rolly's out the session. Oh, he's retired in the pits. So we've lost our perfect 16 to 16 drivers still in the race. And that will be some penalty points on his license. Coming into the race. As Jack Mess here, the lead car to have pit has now reached the lowest car not to have pit in AJ. It's going to be important for Jack Mess that he dispatches of AJ quickly and doesn't get stuck behind like Devin does. In fact, you can see the pace difference of the fresh inters to the old ones here, as Devin was behind AJ and he's now only 15 seconds behind. So in the space of about 6 or 7 laps, he's managed to pull about 20 seconds when you include the pit stop time. Wait, no, that's not how the maths works, but it's about on this track it's about 23 second pit stop. He's getting about 8 seconds in about 5 laps, so over a second a lap faster. So we could see Devin back on the tail of AJ, if AJ's tyres can even make it another 12 laps. As I said, it's critical that Checo does not get held up for too long here. He's not got the battery that AJ has. So he runs very wide. Desperate to avoid a penalty. He's not going to be able to get into turn 1 here. I don't know why he's burning his whole battery for a move that is not on. It's Bartu now. Picks up in 3 seconds. And we have a yellow flag, and Bartu's put it in the wall on the exit of the final corner. And he's lost some of his front wing there. He gets going again. No safety car for that, luckily. But that's probably going to require a pit stop, I'd imagine. And that's Bartu's hopes of points dashed. Here comes Giacometti, burning all the battery he's got. He sends a move up the inside. Can he get the car stopped? Just about. I think he's going to be able to make the move stick. AJ fighting for it, but he gets shoved out wide onto the curb. And I think this will probably be it. Although AJ has a lot more battery. AJ caught sleeping really going into turn 9 there. Not burning any battery. He's kind of allowed that move to happen. Yeah, a lot of these drivers here, I think, due to the high amounts of moisture on the track, the tyres aren't really overheating, so they're not really wearing. Like these inters, if the track stays like this, they don't wear that much. So to answer your question, Killian, I think they're probably only getting 1 or 2% a lap. At least, especially at the start of the race, their wear would have been basically nothing on the inters. I wouldn't be surprised though if we do see some punches at the end of the race, as Bartu unfortunately was retired after that crash in the pit lane, bringing his race to a close. Wilson, the next driver to try and pass AJ. Look how that gap has come down between Wilson and Giacometti. The gap now only 3.6 seconds. Giacometti with that 3-second time penalty as well. Sorry. Not Giacometti, AJ with that 3-second time penalty as well. He will fall way down the order, I imagine, at the end of this. But Wilson, yeah, within striking distance of Giacometti if Jack picks up a 3-second time penalty. Could be something to watch out for, which is surprising given the pace that Giacometti showed at the start of this race when he absolutely blitzed the field, went from P3 to P1 in the opening laps and then built a 7-second gap over the rest of the field. Josh, meanwhile, has brought the gap steadily down between him and Cryptic. Now only 3.8 seconds. Again, Josh unfortunately does have the 3-second time penalty, so I don't see him passing and then pulling that gap on Cryptic, unfortunately. Night Owl remains parked behind Lennon. Night Owl, one of the more passive drivers, I think. If you were to look at a scale of aggressive to passive, he's not the sort of driver you'll see send a dive on from 3 tenths, 4 tenths back, which is kind of what's required in these conditions. You have to send the move here into turn 9. We saw Giacometti do it to make the move on AJ. You see in tier 1 all the time, those drivers, I think some of what makes the difference between top tier 1 driver and a tier 2 driver is the ability to charge a move like that, pull a move off. You saw the likes of Willow make his way through the pack in China from P11 to P2. You saw Andrea do it, you saw me do it. I'm not saying I'm a top tier 1 driver, but gets past slower cars by sending moves that you would have thought Night Owl would have been able to make by now. He's been stuck behind Lennon for the best part of 15 laps at this point. Jack Miles has caught up right to the back of Bonkers 5 here. He's just struggling for pace in these inters. He's not really... I mean, he's fallen a long way back from Wilson. They came out basically a second apart. As Devon there set the fastest lap of the race. And Wilson is now right on the back and trying to make the move on AJ. And yeah, AJ not able to really fight that one. His tyres truly are... They just don't have the same grip as all these guys who've pit. He's got 10 laps older tyres. As Jack Miles makes the move on Bonkers on the exit of turn 5. And that's one for the books. V-Carb overtaking a McLaren on pure pace. In fact, the V-Carb on the older tyres. And now JTK looking for the same move. And this is what I mean. These drivers, Jack Miles, did not spend long stuck behind Bonkers. He made the move, he got past. We didn't see it, but it's just something Niall's not been able to do here. Despite clearly having, in my opinion, better pace than Lennon. So can JTK make the move? This time as they get between Wilson and Chaka Mess is now only 2.5 seconds, so that battle is on. As Devon again sets the fastest lap, so he's found some pace in that Red Bull. Wow, as Bonkers lets the Williams go. The McLaren, given team orders by Mercedes Academy, lets the Williams go. Not a good look. Not a good look at all for Bonkers. And the Mercedes Tier 2 Academy woes continue. They just can't seem to find consistent performers in these top cars since the likes of Mintoki, Max Hodgley, Rasmussen have all kind of left the academy really, not driving anymore, moved up a tier, wherever they've gone. I think we're going to see a lot of cars end up very close together at the end of this race. I don't think Josh is going to have the pace to catch Cryptic, but I think Wilson will be on the back of Jack MS at the end of this race. I think Jack Miles will be on the back of AJ, so will JTK. I think Devon will be on the back of Bonkers, if not the back of Jack Miles and that group. I think if Cryptic can keep his tyres alive to the end of this race here, he's on for an impressive win. Let's check in with our favourite pastime. Is Night Owl close to Lennon? And yet again the answer is yes. And my second favourite pastime of can Night Owl make the move on Lennon? I think again the answer is going to be no. Ooh, he's sliding through the final corner there. I'd imagine Night Owl's tyres are probably feeling quite bad sat in this dirty air. As Wilson is now right on the back of Jack MS. So Jack MS showed insane pace at the start of this race. And now he's struggling. At least compared to Wilson. Wilson P3 in the championship is obviously probably not going to take any points out of Lennon's lead, which would extend over both Night Owl and Wilson if things stay as they are. But P5 is still be a good result, although that's not going to help, running all the way out onto the grass on the exit of turn 4. again, no, not able to get close enough. There's a lap car of one of the Salmers. I think that'll probably be Savage in front of the leaders. Yeah, but Savage, who does not look at the inputs. He is not confident in the car whatsoever. Yeah, he's going to pull out the way and let these leaders go by, I think. JTK has closed the gap up to Jack Miles again, and we have yellows for SV for a spin or something. Yeah, Jack Miles trying to break the toe down the straight. Jack Miles not making the inroads into AJ that I'd expected, I'll be honest. As Savage has had a spin and is in the gravel. Not a good thing, but I respect Savage for finishing the race, which I imagine he'll do at this point, as we also have SV off. Has he got a puncher? No? Just thought the car's seeming a bit funny. Oh, okay. But yeah, Jack Miles struggled this game with tyre wear a lot, I know, so I wonder if his tyres are starting to go as SV is pulling into the pits. Poor Savage, man, just look at him sliding everywhere. He's not even on any throttle or brake, he's still barely got control of that thing. Savage clearly not a car you want in the wet. Devon closing right in now on Bonkers. Currently as it sits, Devon will claim the last points position as Savage does DNF unfortunately, so he doesn't make it into the race. And AJ's left a session. And Savage left a session. I unfortunately don't have AJ as a friend, I don't believe. Oh no. No. So no way I can get him back in, unfortunately. Unfortunately, he was having a great race, but like he was going to finish P7, P8. And AJ's just rejoined the session, luckily. But he's got Jack Miles trying to make the move before he rejoins. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And JTK will follow him through. And Wilson now finds himself firmly tucked behind Jack MS in the battle for P5. Does Wilson have what it takes to make an overtake? We've seen that Night Owl does not. Not on this occasion, he can't. We're into the final 2 and a bit laps here. As Cryptic continues to lead, only by 1.8 seconds now from Josh 433. Sadly, Josh has that 3-second time penalty, which is going to really hurt him as AJ and Bonkers now battling away. Oh, there's contact there. And that's forced Bonkers off, and that's allowed Devin through on the pair of them. I'm not going to make a guess as to whose fault that was. I didn't see the instant fully, as Wilson is now right on the back of Jack MS. Just needs to find a way by. Yeah, they're affecting him through turn 6 and 7. And then on through 8. Just he's too far back at turn 9 to make a move. The problem with this track is all the places where you can get close, you can't overtake. All the places you can overtake, you can't get close. Okay, Bonkers kind of turning in there a little bit. He's not giving AJ much room, but a bit more contact there, and he forces his way through. I think that's just about fair. Rubbing his racing after all. I think it's Jack Miles having to P7 with all that going on. JTK just needs to sit behind him and claim that P7 after penalties though. Look at how close Wilson can get through there, and then problem is, through these next couple of corners, it's just going to lose time in the dirty air. Especially turn 8 here. We really need a strong front end. Yeah, the gap there balloons to 6.5 tenths from around 4.5. So we cut back to our favourite, will they, won't they? Night Out and Lennon. Matty's just informed me that apparently Savage was running default setup with top speed on, so that's not fun to drive around with a setup like that. That's unfortunate for him. I think Wilson looking the most likely to make a move. So I didn't even realise we were on the final lap here. So Kritik probably, unless Stuart's anything to say about it, and I don't think there's any reason they would, he's going to win his first race of the season. Much better result than last time out at Saudi. Much better performance. Did go the whole race on one set of tyres. And he wins the race. Josh will follow him home, P2. Lennon, who's done a great job to hold off Night Owl. I know I've talked shit about Night Owl not being able to make the move, but Lennon's done a great job, not made a single mistake. He brings the car home. P3, Night Owl P4. Jack MS just going to hold off Wilson by the looks of things. Looks like he could have won the race. He's got himself P5 in the end. And Wilson. Jack Miles then 10 seconds back. He's going to finish P7 on the road. A great result in that V-carb. Especially when they made an extra pit stop compared to the leaders. But he's going to lose 2 positions across the line to finish P9. JTK will take P7 in his stead. Devin P8 in the Red Bull after a horrible start to the race. Bonkers takes the final point, P10. Half a tenth ahead of AJ, who, without that disconnect, I reckon finishes with at least a point or 2. Valentino finishes the race with a drift. P12. And then SV, who huge respect to for finishing the race. Even if he's driven the race in an interesting manner. Well, if he finishes the race. Will be P13 and last of the finishers. If he finishes, which he does, there we go. Oh, and Tevin coming over the radio to call. Yeah, there we have it, ladies and gents. Kritik with his first win of the season in McLaren. I think McLaren's first win of the season too. I could be wrong on that one, don't quote me on that. Then a Ferrari podium with Lennon and Josh. Josh P2, Lennon P3. Driver of the day goes to Night Owl according to the game. I can't give Night Owl driver of the day. I know he gained a lot of positions. Showed a lot more pace than in qualifying, but I just can't give him driver of the day. I think it's going to have to go, in my opinion, to Cryptic, doing the whole race on one set of tyres, winning by, in the end, only 4.2 seconds, but he created that huge gap after he got past Lennon. I think an honourable mention has to go to JTK, P7 in that Williams. Jack Miles as well, would have finished P7 in that 3-second penalty. Great pace from a driver who's been struggling this game. Yeah, there we have it. There's the results. Lots of penalties for drivers. Obviously, those last two corners being a bit of a nightmare for track limits, especially double and triple warning. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some penalties getting removed after stewards. I think if AJ can get his removed, that could be a good increase in points for him. But yeah, there we have it. That's the Tier 2 RPL Round 4 Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya race over. Hope everyone had a good time watching that. The opening to that race was very entertaining. Lots of wheel-to-wheel action as everyone got to grips with how wet the track was and where the grip laid. Lots of gainers and lots of losers throughout that race. I'll be back next week, unfortunately for you guys, for round 5, where we go to... Let's pretend that I know what I'm doing and that I've definitely looked this up before and I'm not looking at it now on my phone. We head to Austria. One of my favourite tracks, actually, Austria. Should see lots of overtaking there. Maybe Night Owl can make an overtake. You never know. Anyway, I'll see you guys